The message that I have for this reading is that they thought you were breaking down, but you were building pressure. You weren't falling apart, you were preparing to go supernova. Stars don't disappear, they explode into brilliance and light up everything they touch. You're not rising, you are becoming the force. What do we have at the foundation? Five of Wands, Leo energy at the foundation of the reading. I'm not surprised this came out because I think this has been coming out in almost every reading for the past few weeks. But what I'm getting here, and I feel that this is going to coincide with the new moon eclipse, is that there's some sort of cycle from about 2000 to 2003 that is preparing to close out. So a lot of you might be having dreams. You might be having old memories pop up from that period of time, which is interesting because the previous eclipse that we just had was pulling memories from about 2017, 2018 era. But whatever the case, there's something here that is taking place inside a lot of your energy where you are being guided by spirit to speak up about something, to implement some sort of change. You have everything you need to begin pushing forward in a certain direction. And I feel that there's a lot connected to this. So to really simplify what I'm feeling here for all of you is that Spirit is guiding you to do something that has to do with some sort of justice that needs to be brought into your life. A lot of you could be reluctant to do this. Some of you could even have some fear surrounding whatever this is. But when I say that there's other things connected to this, what I mean by that is other manifestations that you are trying to pull through in your life are actually relying on you taking the necessary steps to pull this out into the light. It's a part of some sort of deal that you made with Spirit. Spirit sends you down here on a mission to trigger some sort of judgment in other individuals' lives. And the deal for doing this is that you are able to pull through specific things that you would like to align with on your path. Now, I've also been getting a lot of messages leading up to this reading about people trying to tell you that you're being a victim when you're only trying to speak your truth. So an example of this is when somebody does something really wicked towards you that makes you a victim without you having any control over it. And when you speak up about it and bring attention to it, they say, stop acting like a victim. Now, there's this powerful distinction between acting like a victim and actually speaking up about actions that were formed against you that made you a victim without you having any say-so in the matter. And this is something that gets twisted far too often. Being a victim is a factual state. Something unjust or harmful happens to you, and you didn't choose to be in that position. It's not about weakness, it's about acknowledging reality. And then on the other hand, acting like a victim is something that's used in a manipulative way to try and silence you from trying to reclaim your power or express what you've been through. It's like gaslighting or dismissing your truth by framing you as dramatic or attention-seeking, right? But the irony here is real victims are often the ones least likely to dwell in self-pity. They're too busy trying to survive, heal, or make some sort of sense of what happened. So speaking up isn't playing the victim, it's standing in your truth and refusing to let the harm be swept under the rug. And people who weaponize phrases like stop acting like a victim are usually uncomfortable with accountability, right? It's a way to deflect or to minimize what actually happened. So understand that anyone who tries to twist your narrative like this is either ignorant of your experiences or intentionally trying to undermine you. Speaking truth is an act of courage, not victimhood. And you're more likely to actually be a victim by remaining silent. When you speak up about these things, you're putting one foot forward to get yourself out of that space of being the victim and putting the focus, putting the spotlight on what happened to you to pull forward some sort of justice in your life. Now, this is going to represent many different things for all of you out there, but whatever it may be, I feel that once you finally start progressing forward in that space, you're going to see other areas of your life begin to flourish. You need to release whatever it is you're holding on to, and you need to do it as soon as you can. And this is exactly what we're getting from the Five of Wands at the foundation of the reading. There's something here that's really hanging around inside your energy, and it's time for it to go. Some of you have just been waiting until you were sure, waiting until you quite possibly had enough evidence. And I feel that your patience and wanting to do things correctly is incredibly admirable. You didn't want to go after anyone or any situations you may have gone through until you had all the facts right. But I feel what's happened over this period of time is that everything that you felt intuitively has come to pass. You're starting to realize that you're right about everything. In fact, there's other details that have been brought to the light that solidify all of this to be even more true. And then right on the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Pentacles, okay? So this Four of Pentacles, he's facing this mountain, okay? And he's holding on to the pentacles. Now, the pentacles that he's holding on to, it's more of a metaphor for you just clenching onto something so tight you don't want to let it go because you're afraid, or maybe you just don't want to deal with the repercussions of having to release this thing. But holding on to this thing is creating so much energetic drag for you, and it's going against the divine's will for your mission in this life cycle. All of this was meant to unfold exactly like this. And I feel that once you begin to understand what I'm saying here and you harness the courage to go down this path, you're going to feel this tremendous release of pressure. Now, I've also been getting messages surrounding some of you getting actual physical symptoms that are connected to this. So a lot of the times, what we're dealing with as above, so let's say in spirit, is going to trickle its way down to our physical vessel. So you could be dealing with shoulder pain, or you could have a dry throat or a dry cough, something like this. And this all has to do with your chakras. So if it's in your throat and you can't quite get to the bottom of it, sort of like a tickle, right? A kind of tingling sensation, but you're not sick. That's because your throat chakra is blocked. And if you're dealing with issues regarding shoulder pain or back pain, it's because you need to release the burdens that this situation has put on you. What do we have? The sacral, please. Ten of Swords, Gemini energy at the sacral. So this is further reinforcing what I'm picking up here, because this Ten of Swords is representing an ending. A cycle is preparing to end, and it's all connected to this action that you need to take, however that shows up for you. And, you know, I was just talking about issues with your back, and the Ten of Swords is one of the cards that actually represents problems with your back. It also represents being backstabbed, right? So this could be directly connected to an event where you were literally stabbed in the back by individuals that you thought you could trust. They betrayed you. And this cycle wants to close out, but your truth that you need to speak, or whatever that may represent for you, is the final piece to the puzzle here. There's also a lot of people waiting. I'm seeing this individual in my mind's eye biting their nails, shaking their leg. They're so nervous. They have so much anxiety because they don't know what you are going to do next, which is telling me that you hold the power here, okay? And that goes right back to the message I delivered at the beginning of the reading about you being the force. You are preparing to go supernova. You are the one that holds the cards. They never thought that you would be in the power position, but it's because of the way you have played your hand. You have moved in this very methodical, very meticulous fashion. You haven't been sloppy. You've listened to spirit this entire time and moved in accordance with your higher guidance. But now we're at this point where spirit is saying that it's go time. You have been preparing for this your entire life, but you may not have been made aware of this until this past few years. But for a lot of you, your life purpose is directly connected to this event. It triggers some sort of domino effect in your life. You are the bringer of truth. You are the bringer of the light, and you are going to illuminate what has been taking place in and around your life because it needs to be known. This is going to work to clear up your name or your reputation, I'm hearing. And this is the path. Oh, I just got a loud ringing in my ear right as I was preparing to say this. This is the path of a chosen individual, right? See, chosen individuals are people that are born into families to trigger awakening, to bring forward karmic consequences to individuals that are not living in accordance with the divine's will for their life. At its core, you are the bringer of change, which ultimately is going to work to heal these people. Now, it may not look that way at first because what these individuals have to go through to get back on their path is a kind of spiritual upheaval. It's messy. It's sort of like they're being reprimanded by the divine. And you all need to understand that individuals that are chosen for this path are not expected to be perfect in any way, shape, or form. In fact, recognizing you're flawed is a requirement. You just do your best and God will work with that, okay? All chosen people are flawed. The key is to recognize where you need healing and support, ask for help, and keep pushing forward. You're here to have a human experience and to live life as one. And that experience is flawed by design. So remember that. Your flaws are all a part of the path that was selected for you. A lot of those flaws are things that the divine is working with you to help overcome. That's where you gather a lot of the wisdom that you arm yourself with to walk down your destined path toward your purpose as a means to fulfill your destiny. A lot of those things that you carried with you for most of your life are what you heal yourself from, which certifies you to be a master healer in that specific area, which allows you to go out into the collective and help other individuals that may be suffering with similar. And a lot of this has to do with telling your truth, telling your story. It's all a part of it. Each one of you is a movie script waiting to happen. That's how I see life. I truly believe that reality is shaped around each one of our destinies. And we have the power to become the hero in our own movie script. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the Devil, Capricorn energy. So 5 of Wands, 10 of Swords, Devil. That's a crazy energy, okay? Now, this Devil energy here is what you have broken free from. And when you break free from this energy, however that shows up for you, all of these minions, all of these entities and demons, so to speak, which show up in all your friends and family members and your relatives, whatever it is for you, right? They come for you in some capacity because you're not supposed to break away from the sheeple. It is forbidden to carve out your own path. And you don't actually begin to fully realize this until you start pushing back against these societal norms that you were expected to partake in with all of these individuals. You start challenging the way they do things. You start asking questions that you shouldn't be asking. You start dissecting mindsets, generational patterns that you don't think serve you. This is the path of a chosen one. And typically speaking, the first stage to being a chosen individual is first becoming the black sheep. This is when you are cast out by these groups, by these families. You start making your own way through life. You start to realize that there's a depth to life that you didn't even recognize until you started going your own way. You start to look at things differently. You've gathered perspective because you are outside that fishbowl, so to speak. You start to see things from this universal vantage point, and this is when you begin co-creating with spirit your true, real reality that was willed for your life before you even came here. And once you do this, the full force of hell will come for you. You've already been equipped to defeat them by way of your truth, whatever that represents for you. They know it, and they fear it, and they feel it coming. What do we have? The solar plexus, please. Wow. 5 of Pentacles. This is you. Seeing what all of them were too weak to see themselves. You understand that there's so much more beyond the lie that you were programmed to believe from the moment of inception. You understand that you have been conditioned without your knowledge, without your consent, placed on a path that is no different than all the rest of their paths. It's a path that's conditioned to keep the curse going. Another way of speaking about generational patterns, de-evolving energies, everything that you were sent here to break. You see, it's important that the divine gets these energies moving. The divine sees these family lineages as kinds of energetic signatures, energetic cycles. So all of you are sent into these families to be that chain breaker, to be that chosen one that finally breaks the curse. The curse that may have been present for several hundreds of years. There's no telling. It's going to be different for all of you. But you're different because you want more. You know there's more because Spirit gave you the sight to see something that none of them have. They may claim to have it, but they don't. You have access to something that they are not vibrationally able to connect to because of the way they have chosen to live their lives. What you need to understand is that the separation, the isolation that some of you may be going through or preparing to go through isn't punishment, it's preparation, because you're being called to your allocated position in your own reality in the universe because you have a higher calling. You're here for a purpose. All of these people relinquished their missions a long time ago, probably without even realizing it. And what's interesting is that when they relinquish their mission, without even being consciously aware of it, in some cases, they will come for any of those, that being you, who threaten exposure of this. Simply put, it's like they sell their soul to the devil, however that shows up in their life. And a part of the deal is that anybody in their reality who tries to speak up and tell the truth or bring exposure must be brought down, must be completely destroyed and obliterated. And a lot of this is what you're starting to see now. And this is a wild energy that we have on the table. These are 3 of the roughest energies that we have in the tarot. There's a lot of obstacles and challenges here. You are coming out from under this dark cloud with this 5 of Pentacles at the solar plexus, and you're finding your place. You're stepping into your personal power, and you're regaining control for a lot of you for the first time ever. Typically, this is how it goes. You start to realize you have access to something that you never even knew existed, and it's something that has been laying dormant deep inside of you, something that has been waiting for you to call out to it. That's that inner knowing. That's that connection you have to source, your real family. That's that divine light that you have in you. That is your superpower. And you have to understand that when you have this, when you understand this, they are always going to come at you with the full force of hell. But as long as you don't falter and as long as you keep charging forward, they can't touch you. Because you merely remembering who you are and having the courage to wield that power automatically deflects anything they try to do for you. You have a kind of security system that comes online. See, Spirit, the divine, needs you to remember who you are to actually be able to protect you. It's an interesting thing because until you truly step into your power and you remember enough of who you are to get pushing forward on your path, you're open to attacks. But it makes sense it would be that way because that's how Spirit is able to get you to wake up, by allowing some of those weapons that they form against you to make their way to you, to trigger that awakening. But once you actually figure this out, that's when your shields go up. And that is their worst fear. There's something deep inside of them that knows once you realize that, it's all over. So that's why the gaslighting, them blurring the lines between being a victim and acting like a victim, all this sort of stuff, it becomes so strong. They want you to think that you're losing your mind. They want you to think that you're crazy, that you have this false sense of self, and you don't understand the actual makeup of your own reality. And then right on the bottom of the deck, I have the Page of Wands. Now, I feel that this Page of Wands is representing all of you and the fire that has been lit inside of you. You're starting to understand now, right? See, this is what they don't want. And then 9 of Swords, this is where they want you, always in your head, always able to get to you because you haven't stepped into your power. See, the pages are the first step, but it's the necessary component to get you to mastery. It's you putting one foot in front of the other and discovering who you really are. What do we have with the heart, please? Knight of Swords, air energy at the heart. Now, the Knight of Swords is representing all of these changes that you're implementing. And see how it's coming right after this 5 of Pentacles? It's like this is what you are leaving behind, right? This feeling. It's like that dark cloud over your life, right? Whatever that represents for you. That connection to those individuals, right? And how much they were dragging you down. See, what a lot of you are starting to experience now is some sort of movement in your life. You've seen some sort of evolution since you've started to disconnect from these energies, or you feel that this is what you need to do. And this Knight of Swords is what is representing those changes taking place. You're no longer allowing yourself to live inside of an idea of who they think you should be. Instead, you are allowing this inner knowing to tell you who you are and to guide your steps moving forward. And when you start to do this and you start to see your life evolving, this starts to create some sort of forward momentum. You start to feel like you need to catch up to something. You don't know what it is, but it feels a whole lot like your higher self. You feel like you're not where you're supposed to be. That's what this awakening process feels like. That's what breaking these generational curses feels like. You start to break out of the conditioning and you think to yourself, oh my God, where am I? I'm not supposed to be here. This is hell. See, hell, it's a vibration. It's a mindset. And for most of you, it represents what you're leaving behind, because you're starting to truly see that you were never supported in the way you needed to be supported. The support that they had for you was conditional. It was all based on keeping you small, minimizing all of your successes. And that's a big eye-opener when that happens, because that is typically an indication that you're irritating the demons within these individuals. You see, they need you to remain in a space that they can control you in, and it's always going to be beneath whatever they have achieved in their life. And for some of you, these individuals have set the bar so low that it becomes a little bit frightening to think about what they had in mind for you in your life. What do we have at the throat? Two of Cups. Cancer energy at the throat. Now, the Two of Cups from this particular deck, every time I see it, I feel like this is representing you coming into alignment with your higher self. So it follows what I said about you catching up to future you, right? You feeling like you're not where you're supposed to be. And you starting to actually see that they've been waiting on you this entire time to wake up to the truth, put one foot in front of the other, and charge towards your greatness, towards your power and your purpose. I just heard the power and the purpose. And that's exactly what this Two of Cups is representing for me right now. You, your higher self can also be seen as your connection to source and the divine. There's many layers to it. I like to think of it as it goes your higher self, the divine, and then source or God. And then spirit is all of the energy in between that connects everything. It's like spirit is the conduit so you can communicate with the different levels of your higher guidance. What do we have at the third eye? Star, Aquarius energy at the third eye. And there it is. This is exactly what they can't have happening. You hitting this level in the game. And do you see anyone around you? No. It's just you and spirit. It's just you and the divine. You and the universe. Right where you were always meant to be. And whenever I see this star card, it's like these 7 white stars remind me of the 7 chakra systems. So it's like you're being brought into alignment. There's a kind of calibration that's taking place here once you have this meeting with your higher self, with the divine. The most powerful part about this entire process is when you actually have some sort of material proof that your faith resulted in something. So your faith that we're encouraging you to have, to step forward, speak your truth, take that action you need to take, like we spoke about at the beginning of the reading, brings something into your everyday waking life. You start to see these sort of divine mechanics at play in your life. You understand that you have access to something that these individuals were literally hell-bent on suppressing. Again, your superpower. So we all have the potential to access this, but sadly, too many are lost to the material world, to the matrix, and sell out because we're made to think that it's too hard. It takes too long, right? But in reality, the path that they chose is much harder. It's just made to seem that there's some sort of immediate gain by taking the path that they've taken, right? Because the devil baited them. The devil tempted them. What do we have at the crown, please? 8 of Wands, Sag energy at the crown. There's a lot of change that is preparing to unfold in your life. And as we look at this energy, I mean, look at this evolution, right? This is everything that you have overcome here. And it goes into this very powerful, beautiful energy. It can't get any lower, any darker than this. And don't forget, we also saw the devil, right? And there's this distinction here of, okay, I just got a ring into my ears. So what I'm about to say is very much true. It's like there's these two realities that I'm picking up on here, and it's all based on vibration. This is a living hell. These people live in hell, right? That's what they chose. It's a certain lifestyle. This is what you were pulled out of. And now you are put on this path that is on a higher vibrational timeline where thoughts, ideas, dreams actually have the possibility of manifesting into your everyday waking life. There's many layers to this, but a lot of you have dreams. A lot of you have things that you want to achieve in this lifetime. And what it really comes down to is aligning yourself to the actual frequency or vibration of those manifestations. And most of these things are on these higher timelines. So like I said at the beginning of the reading, the action that you have been guided to take is how you access this new timeline. It's the metaphorical key that you use to unlock the door. And this Eight of Wands is directly connecting us to the message at the beginning of the reading about you preparing to go supernova. The Five of Wands right there at the root chakra. This is you breaking the chains of the material world, this generational karma, this curse, and making your way to full enlightenment with this Eight of Wands at the crown and positioning yourself as the master builder in your own reality, stepping into that allocated position that has been waiting for you this entire time. What do we have at the foundation, please? Three of Cups, Cancer energy at the foundation, right underneath that Five of Wands. So the Three of Cups from this deck is an energy of gossip. And this is you starting to see that these individuals brought a lot of misfortune into your life by way of proxy, right? You are the average of the five closest people to you. This is very real. These people stifled your creativity, held you back. And this is not you being a victim. This is you recognizing truth. Again, I just heard it very clearly. Be very careful of people who like to weaponize that word. You know, this is a big problem in the world today because there's a lot of people that go through things, right? And they're too scared to speak up about it because the individuals that form those weapons against them use those kinds of phrases, right? But I'm also getting here that there's obviously a lot of people that have your name in their mouth right now. These people are fighting amongst each other. I just heard they don't know what to do about this situation, like we already picking up on a lot of anxiety from these people. I'm seeing that person biting their nails and shaking their leg again. I just heard they did it to themselves. And this is very true. They can't get you out of their mind because they don't know what you're going to do next. I just heard they led themselves to the slaughter. You didn't even have to do anything. All you had to do was find your confidence and remember who you are and start pushing down your path. And everything else will be taken care of. What do we have at the sacral? Three of Wands, Vul, Aries energy at the sacral. So all of this energy here is pretty much the same because the Three of Wands from this deck is really speaking about all of the different obstacles that they placed on your path, all of these setbacks that you've had to endure time and time again, year after year, but you keep getting up. And that's that divine tether that you have inside of you. That's your connection to the divine. I feel like a lot of you are looking back on your path and you're even surprised that you've made it as far as you have with everything that you've had to endure. When you feel that way, when you feel like, wow, how did I do that? That's a very clear indication that the higher power has been working in your life the entire time, motivating you to get up and keep fighting. I feel that a lot of you are going through this season right now where the exposure is overwhelming as well. You always knew that there was something there, right? Something was off. But what's being illuminated to you now is far beyond what a lot of you could have even imagined. I'm also hearing something about you having a lot of obstacles and challenges relating to some sort of long-term goals or some sort of vision that you've had for yourself. It's like you haven't quite been able to get something going, get something moving, and it's all connected to this situation. Whether it's that truth that needs to be spoken so you can start to see forward momentum in that space, or you having close proximity to these individuals, it's energetic. Once you start to understand the energetic principles at play behind your path and your purpose and everything you do here, it all begins to make sense. You start to see how everything you do in your waking life is connected to the energy surrounding your life. That's why it's absolutely crucial that you're aware of who you surround yourself with and the kind of energy that they hold. Because we're conditioned to think, what they do has nothing to do with me. Sure, that may be true. But energetically speaking, you have to be very mindful of the people you surround yourself with. I cannot state this to you enough. When you are chosen for a path like this, you are more sensitive to energies because you have an awareness of them. What do we have? The solar plexus, please. Hangman, Pisces energy at the solar plexus. Okay, so the hangman here is really speaking about these individuals trying to make a martyr out of you. It's also speaking about how traitorous they actually were. I mean, it goes without saying, but they're reiterating it again here. And this card from this deck is the energy of feeling like a victim, right? However, what we're starting to see is the tables beginning to turn here, because these individuals are actually doing what they accused you of doing, being a victim. They're victimizing themselves based on you stepping into your power. It's like everything that they do is the opposite of what reality actually is. It's like the upside down, which makes perfect sense. This is how these people roll. Obstacles, challenges, backstabbed, lack mentality, poverty mindset, delays, no support, gossip, more delays, and trying to make a martyr out of you and playing the victim. The bed they made for you has now become their reality. And this is where they're going to have to remain until they learn their lesson. That's the thing. We always remain in the same spaces until we have learned the lessons we need to extract from that space to be able to graduate on from it, whether it be good or whether it be bad. If you're not seeing forward momentum in your life, it's because you're missing something. It's not because the universe or the divine is trying to punish you. You are here because you need to gather wisdom, and you need to remain in that space until you do so. So now they have to face the karmic consequences for their actions, and they will be put through a specific kind of judgment that aligns with the decisions that they chose to make. What do we have at the heart, please? Temperance in its negative polarity, ego and hate. So follows what I just said perfectly, because the temperance from this particular deck is representing all of this conflict and chaos and all of these disruptive energies that they brought into your life to stop your forward momentum, to stop you dead in your tracks. For some of you, literally. I just heard that these people recognized you as a threat before you even knew what a threat was. It's like from the moment of inception, they thought to themselves, uh-oh. A lot of you have been dealing with horrendous spiritual attacks since you were born. This is obviously very paradigm shifting when you start to realize this, when you start to understand this. I'm also hearing something about a lot of you having to reparent yourself for obvious reasons, or having to undo a lot of things that you were taught, things that you were told were truth, but they were anything but. These individuals created a complete mess in your life, but you're quickly taking control back over your life, and Spirit is helping you to smooth all of this out in an accelerated fashion right underneath that Knight of Swords. All you need to do is accept the truth. The sooner you accept the truth, the sooner you will find yourself on this new timeline, and you'll look at all of this, you'll think back to it all like it was some sort of bad dream that you had. You'll wake up one day in your new life and think, who are all those people? They just begin to fade away from your life. I'm also hearing something about some of you dreaming about these people right now, the people that you know for a fact have formed weapons against you and been trying to hold you back, trying to stifle your forward momentum, your creativity, whatever it is for you. You're seeing things in the dream state happening to these people. You're seeing everything they put you through being turned back on them now. And then we have the Eight of Wands again, so twice, okay? Now, the Knight of Swords and the Eight of Wands are the two fastest moving energies in the tarot, and we have them stacked right there at the heart. So this is really speaking about what I said in regards to you just accepting the truth and then Spirit accelerates all of this healing to unfold in your life, to catch you up where you need to be so you don't feel like you have fallen behind, because that can feel overwhelming. When you go through this process and you're like, oh my God, I have to do so much work. It can be a lot to deal with, but I'm not seeing that here for you. What I'm seeing here is you just merely taking Spirit's hand. And then as soon as you do, it's like it's a flash in the pan, right? You just wake up in this new reality. Yes, you're still dealing with these situations. Yes, these people are still somewhere in your reality, but your sense of self is different. Your conscious awareness of who you are is much more acute. It's like a part of your mind has come online after remaining dormant. It's like that feeling that you've always had about something that you couldn't even really put into words, all of a sudden just comes to pass, and you're like, oh my God, I'm here, I'm me. What do we have at the throat, please? Too many cards. What do we have at the throat? So we got the Three of Pentacles, Capricorn energy, and then Eight of Wands flipped over in the deck again. So we have 3 Eight of Wands here now. So this is really reinforcing what I said about things moving quickly. The energy can't move any faster than having 3 Eight of Wands on the table and the Knight of Swords. Like I said, a flash in the pan. And then this Three of Pentacles right here underneath this Two of Cups. It says right there, mental force. That is really speaking about what I said in regards to you just accepting the truth, having the mental force to be able to process what has taken place here. And there's something that I want to mention here about karma, okay? Karma isn't just about action. It's about intention, all right? So if someone caused you harm without knowing, life will teach them gently, right? Because they didn't intend to hurt you. But when harm is deliberate or it's calculated and cruel, it's going to arrive like a mirror, reflecting all of the wounds they meant to inflict back at them. I'm also getting, with all of these Eight of Wands here and this Knight of Swords and this quickly moving energy, it's not only representing this acceleration forward in your life, but it's an acceleration of their karma because they're long overdue for it. It just happens without warning. It's like from one day to the next, like I mentioned for you, it's the same for them. When you wake up on that new timeline with that new conscious awareness of who you really are, those other individuals also wake up on a new timeline with everything that they inflicted upon you staring right back at them. And it's going to show up in their life as their darkest fears. And a lot of that is your success and happiness. So in a way, they helped you manifest success in your life. Just depends on how you look at it. Because those weapons that they formed against you, like I mentioned earlier on in the reading, about Spirit allowing some of that to hit you, is what woke you up to who you've become and who you are. So now we start to see the greater meaning and purpose in your life unfolding in this meticulous, very detailed, genius kind of fashion. Everybody has their place. Everybody played a part. And it was always meant to land you in that allocated position. What do we have? The Crown to close out the reading? The Sun, Leo energy, the vivifying God, restoration of life, protection from adversaries, rabies, and wild beasts. So that's just really speaking metaphorically about all these people here, right? They're just wild beasts. They're like rabid dogs. But this Sun card is you accelerating into your happiness, your highest vibrational timeline. The fact that we have gone through all of that to land on the most positive card that there is in the tarot says a lot, because you've come from the deepest depths of hell and now you are standing underneath the sun, living your best life in your power, in your purpose. And this is all about to happen in the blink of an eye. Once you take that necessary step forward, so you receive the key to unlock that door. All right, this is what I have for all of you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and if this reading resonated with you, leave me a sun emoji and or a comment down below. And if any of you would like a personal reading, I'm opening up a limited amount of spots. You can find the information in the description below the video, and I will talk to you all again soon. Take care.